Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We are thrilled to sit down with rookie wide receiver Devontez Walker. And, we got to start here. Just you were extremely fast guy, right? And you've been going against another extremely fast guy in Nate Wiggins. All right. So let's just off the top, let's settle this right now. Straight race. We're going straight race. Who's winning that race?
How far are we going?
Okay, well, let's go.
What isn't? I mean, 40.
I mean, 40 is easy, but I kind of want to change it up. Well, give me the 40 first.
If we go 40, I'm gonna say him. Like his start way better than mine.
Okay, but if we're going like
we're
deep,
going 100,
if you're just taking them deep, we're going like 60 yards. Okay,
60 plus is me.
Okay, you're pulling away.
Back end, yeah.
All right. Have you taken them deep yet? Has this been tested?
Yeah, I have. But Nate, like, he's probably, like, I mentioned it pre-draft, mentioned when I got here, like, he's the best person I've ever went against.
Yeah.
Like, if you beat him at the line, like, he's still right there on your hip. Like I said, he's extremely fast. Yeah. So he's gonna be there. He's gonna be real good down the line.
Okay. Sure. All right. Well, that was one matchup I think everybody was looking forward to, and get your popcorn out for training camp too, because that's when just the intensity ramps up a little bit. It's going to be fun.
Nah, for sure. It's gonna be good. He's helping me out. I'm helping him out. So
yep,
it's good.
Yeah, is that when you get drafted here and you have a first round pick that you've gone against at the college level, like? Is that kind of the first thing almost that you think about when you think about these practices and looking to get better and the battles that you two are going to have for a long time here?
Yeah, that was the exact first thing I thought of.
Wow.
Like I get to go against him every day because I was looking forward to going against him anyway, wherever he played, got drafted to. Go here, like I could go against him every day. Like I said, he's gonna make me better because, like I said, he's the best person I've ever faced. He's gonna, teach me a lot of things. I probably teach him a lot of things in his technique or whatnot. So, like I said, like it's gonna be good. Like I was excited getting that call from the Ravens, and he got that call. So.
What do you remember about facing off with him before you got here?
Well, he took him deep.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure what he remembers. You got to take us through that play.
Yeah, that's the main thing I remember. Yeah, I mean, I was watching film on him all week. I see like nobody really tested him deep. Like he kind of was step for step with everyone, and like in his technique, I saw like a slight little flaw. Like he'll kind of open the gate some because like he trusts himself. So I'm like, once he like open that gate, knowing I'm a fast guy as well, like I'm just put my foot in the ground, just run by him, try to go over top of him, and that's exactly what happened on that. It was like 4th and 6. Really, I was supposed to have like a little hitch, but we had like an option to convert it. So I'm like, as soon as he opened the gate, I was like, I'm just take it. I mean, I had the best quarterback in the country in Drake, and Drake just trusted me to beat him. So which he let it out there.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing I remember from it. But like just how fluid he was and his technique and things. Like he followed me the whole game, and I'm just looking at our OC receiver coach telling him like, put me like in a slide or motion me, like get me away from this guy, like, so I can be able to make a play. Like if I can't just keep taking him deep because he's gonna catch up to it.
Yeah.
So that was my thought process throughout the whole game. But it was fun. It was a fun game.
That's cool. Since we're on the subject, last question about this: when you both got here to Baltimore and you were on the practice field, or even met before you got to the practice field, was there any mention of that play between the two of you?
Yeah, like we talk about it all the time. Like we talk about that game, how fun it was, and playing in Death Valley and Clemson. He brings that up all the time as the best atmosphere. I be trying to tell him like it was a little overrated, but I mean it was a good atmosphere. But we talk about that play in that game all the time.
Nice.
Like that's how it shows how fun it was, and like how competitive we both are. This shows that like what we want the same thing, had the same type of goals here.
Yep.
So
Yep.
That's awesome. So how have you thought the transition so far? It's early on, but what have you thought about the transition to the NFL for you?
It's been good. It's everything I thought it would be. All the guys in the locker room, they're real good. There's nobody in the locker room that's really like stuck up or anything like that. Like everybody, looking out for one another. Like the vets has been real good to all the rookies from what I've been seeing in the room. Like Nelly, Shiz, like they kind of taking me under their wing, put some stuff in my mind, like this what you got to do, things like that, how to carry myself throughout everything. So the transition ain't been too crazy. It's been good.
What's the most difficult thing in transitioning to the NFL, and what's something like you said where you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I expected?
Right. So exactly what I expected is probably like the intensity of practices. Like you hear Coach Harbaugh, what's that term we have in practice? It's like ACT or like fast rehearsal. Like in college, you're probably thinking like a little fast walkthrough, probably a little trot or something. Like we got out here I think it was a rookie mini camp, and Shiz looked over. He was like you got to go full speed. I'm like, he said fast rehearsal. That mean full speed. He's like, basically,
emphasis on the fast.
Yeah. So, what kind of threw me off though was, I ain't gonna lie, the lifting. I did not think. I was thinking it's gonna be a little easier. Like, I knew it was gonna be work, but I didn't think it was gonna be like as hard as here.
Yeah.
Like, especially with did the conditioning test today, and then we had legs right after. I'm like this is crazy. but it's good. Like, it shows on Sunday with the Ravens, like they just out physical everyone, and like with the workouts we do, like you can tell they translate to the field, and it's been real good in there. And I see the differences in my body and my explosiveness and speed and things like that. So it's been good.
You can tell we don't go through the workout program.
So, I mean, y'all can join with us.
Nah, I'm good.
You just tell us about it. We'll take your word for it. Have you? It's always fun talking to rookies about kind of a welcome to the NFL moment. Have you had that yet?
Welcome. I'd say slightly. I wouldn't say a full one. I feel like a full welcome is probably taking that hit or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd say that welcome to the NFL moment was it was in OTAs. I think it was like the first practice. Roquan was like, I was out wide at the bottom of the numbers, and he was like, he said something to Coach Munk. He was like, Munk, the rookie already gave it away. I was like, you talking about me? Because I was the only rookie in the game on offense. And then like he said, so he called out whatever play we ran. Then like Trent, think he was a linebacker, and he just shot to where the ball was going. And I was like he literally just called out our whole play. That probably was my welcome to NFL moment. And then like it just continuously happened every day. Like he like such and such Monk, y'all running this again, y'all running that again. I'm like he knows all our plays. Like, we gonna like check something at the line or something. So that's probably my welcome to the NFL that day when he was like the rookie already gave it away. I'm like,
wait, so how'd you give it away? Just the way you lined up?
I guess where I lined up. All those. So.
Okay, so it wasn't something you did wrong. At least it sounds like you just lined up like normal.
And then like I'm terrified. I'm like am I in the wrong spot? And then, I went back to G-Lou. I was like, was I good? G-Lou like, you were fine. I'm like, oh, so I mean, I guess I was good, but yeah, him calling that out, funny. I was just like that's crazy. Like, it just shows, how smart guys are on this level, how precise things are, and how fast they move. Like, it was one play, I think it was Roquan also, like, think shit ran like a little hitch or something, and he just shot over there and deflected the ball. Like, you're not seeing that on the college level, like dudes moving that fast side to side. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the biggest difference. That's kind of threw me off a little bit. Yeah, how fast dudes are on this level.
I mean, Roquan Smith's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna he gets a lot of guys like that even on Sundays. So you're not alone. That's awesome.
I'm curious. When you on draft day, let's go back to draft day and the emotion that we saw from you on that day. Take us into your mind in that moment and what's flooding through your brain.
Yeah. Pretty much everything I worked for up to this point. Like, everybody knows, my journey, my story, starting out HBCU, going to, mid-major, Kent State, things like that, and then going through all that stuff, the NCAA, trying to, get to Power 5, play Power 5, things like that. So, and then also, I felt like I was predicted to go like second, third round, fall into which is nothing wrong with it, fall into the fourth round. Then like just hearing, EDC talk about like, you're a great player, like we love what you do. And he was telling me things he liked about me. Like, it just, kind of broke down that moment. Like hearing the NFL GM tell you everything he liked about you is just like, wow. Like in that moment, it was just like I felt appreciated, felt wanted. So I was real excited getting that call. I had no idea it was going to be the Ravens. Didn't talk to the Ravens during the pre-draft process. So it was good. That's what I was feeling in that moment. Just everything I worked for, how hard I worked. This is why I did all that to get to that point.
Who did you think was going to draft you?
Thought it was gonna be the Bengals. Thought pick 85. I thought that was gonna be me.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you're on this side of things.
Nah, for sure. But I met with them the most pre-draft.
Interesting.
Patriots. Obviously my quarterback went there, and Drake. I met every time they met with Drake, they met with me also.
Oh, interesting.
So, they were looking for the package deal.
Yeah. So and then the Bills. So like my agent, he's like best friends with that GM or knows that GM real well. Me and Stephon Diggs, we have the same agent. So my agent sent me a text like, we trying to make some room for you in Houston. They Bills really like you. They came private workout, pre-draft, and things like that. So I had a good feeling, like them and the Bengals, Bills and the Bengals, I had a real good feeling about. But the Ravens was not on my mind at all.
We had to steal you from the Bengals.
Yeah, it's always funny to hear from draft stories because I feel like, this isn't scientific, but I feel like 90% of the time when a guy has a feeling like I'm going to end up in that place, it never happens that way. It always ends up being somebody that you don't expect.
It could go either way. The other flip side is like, oh, it's destiny. I knew it was going to be the Ravens. You hear that sometimes too.
Guys say that after they get picked. Like, I knew it was going to be that.
The story changes.
I ain't gonna sit here like I had no idea. I didn't. That's probably the only team. I probably talked to all 31. And they,
really?
Yeah, and they probably the only team I did not talk. I talked to G-Lo a little bit at Combine for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But other than that, like
That's
I didn't.
so funny.
Like I'd have met with every team. The Ravens didn't get no Zoom, no visits, nothing.
Interesting. Well, I have heard, I think that if that's the case, it's an indication they really liked you. It's not like you won them over in the interview process.
And
like
that's what a lot of the scouts would tell me from other teams. Like, the teams just checking off boxes. They don't even say nothing to you. They just hearing from everyone else and just checking off boxes. So
yeah.
Interesting. So
I do want to go back to your story just in case listeners or viewers are not totally familiar with that. You started your college career at an HBCU and didn't play any games there. Mm-hmm. It was a COVID year, right? Yeah. So didn't play any games. Then you transferred to Kent State and you played 2 seasons there.
North Carolina Central.
North Carolina Central, sorry. Yep. And then you transferred to Kent State, played 2 seasons there, and then you transferred to North Carolina. And you were ruled ineligible by the NCAA because the rules say you can only transfer once. And they said, well, you transferred twice. And you said, well, kind of. I only transferred once because I didn't play any games at this school. Take me through what was going on at that time when you're ruled ineligible, when you think this is your chance to play North Carolina, play for the Tar Heels, and all of a sudden they say, no, you got to stand on the sidelines.
Oh, no, for sure. Like it broke me, like, because we didn't hear nothing, so we submitted the waiver. We submitted the waiver in February, got there, we're doing the process in January, submitted in February. We didn't hear nothing until literally the night before South Carolina in September.
Wow.
So so in February you submit the waiver and then you think
I'm practicing.
You're practicing. You're a member of the team,
spring,
right? You're on the team.
I'm going through camp. Like, oh, I'm finna go out and start. Like, we didn't hear nothing. I guess I'm finna play.
Were you even nervous? Like, was it even on your mind? Like,
yeah, I was. Like, I had some instances in camp. Like, I'm in coach's office, so I'm sitting beside Drake. Like, I break down because like it's a chance that I might not. Like, I don't hear nothing, but then Coach Brown come to me. He's like we don't hear nothing. Like, you're suiting up. Like, you're gonna be out there in Charlotte, where you're from. You never got to play out there. You get a chance to. You're suiting up. Then the night before, think like that next morning, Coach Callaway and Pat was our football operations guy. He came to me. He was like they said no. Then it was just like just everything just went dark. Like, my mind just went numb. I was like, I don't get to be out here. I always wanted to play Power 5, playing in front of 30 plus family members. Like, all my whole family was at that game.
Oh, wow.
It broke me. Then the next 4 or 5 weeks, like, my mind, like, was just crushed. But I mean, what was helping me out was, being out there with my teammates. We had a very young receiver room, so helping them out, seeing them get better every day, like, that kept me, waking up every day, coming to practice. Went to Coach Brown, asked if I could be on the scout team. Will help me perfect my craft, things like that, while still helping out the team, going against the first team defense every day. So that's what I decided to do in those moments.
Yeah, I thought that was commendable, and that spoke to your character, that you didn't just say, "I'm going home." Like, forget this.
I was close. I ain't gonna lie. Like, think after South Carolina week, that next week, I was thinking about just going home. Trying to see if I can move online or remote or something like that. I ain't really want to. Like, be on campus, walk around, people looking at you like, oh, he's the guy that couldn't play because of whatever rule. Like I can't stand that feeling. Like, people looking at me for something. I mean, it wasn't necessarily bad, but people looking at me for something,
or like pitying you, or something like that, right?
Then, like, everybody coming up to you, like,
asking questions,
asking you questions. Like, I feel bad for you. Like, that's gonna make me feel worse. So I mean, but I still, stayed around on campus, went to class. And I hate being behind. Also, I didn't want to be in that spot either. So that's why I decided to do what I did.
Well, and at that point too, when you got that decision, I mean, you probably were like, "Oh man, does this mean I'm not going to be able to go to the NFL? Like, are my dreams over at this point?" Like, you had played really well at Kent State, but was that going to be enough to get you drafted or get you on a spring training or a training camp roster, all that stuff? Yeah, probably a lot of that running through your mind.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, I had no idea, like, that stuff was going to get overturned. Like, I don't know what they did. Right. The board, Coach Brown, all them, whatever they did in the back. Like, I'm thinking my season was over. I'm preparing for next year, whether I go to the NFL or stay. So
Right.
that's what was going through my mind at that time.
Right. I mean,
so in that gap, like it's not necessarily like you were having meetings with Coach Brown or anybody else on the athletic department.
If I did have a meeting, it would be like an update, like we're doing this and that. Things like that. It wouldn't be like no details or nothing.
it was entirely in their hands.
Yeah, it was in their hands. And you were and so you were as surprised as anybody when you got the reverse call?
Yeah, and then like on the video, you can see like I'm like they tell me like I'm eligible. Like what are you talking about? Like they just told me no. I'm preparing for next year. But like he came and hugged me and said, just like, you're playing Syracuse on Saturday in 2 days. It was Thursday. They like, so I'm just like, well, I got to get a film because I didn't really remember to play.
Yeah,
right.
Because I ain't been practicing with first team and things like that. So I went straight to film room with Coach Galloway and Drake, and we went through like all the stuff we were running that week and stuff like that. So
Right.
but I mean, I was shocked as everybody else.
Yeah, that's gonna be really hard to flip that switch. I mean, to do what you did in last season with that late start is pretty incredible. How were you able to just kind of get running so fast?
Well, one, just doing the scout team stuff, staying in shape, still, running routes and things like that. That kept me up to speed. Just dialing in, locking in, watching film, as much film as I could. So like that Syracuse week, it was a little tougher. I didn't really know who was out there. I'm just pretty much playing off athleticism. That next week, I get a full week. We're going up against one of the best defenses in Miami.
Right.
I just prepared like no other that week. Then the results spoke for itself. So that's kind of that's what I did.
What was I saw that the North Carolina governor got involved in the case and all that stuff. I mean, what was your reaction to that it elevated to that level?
I'm thinking in my mind like, oh, they ain't like, they ain't messing around. It's like, but I mean, it just showed, like, it just told me like, that university cares about, their students and this program. Like you want to play for a coach like Coach Brown, who's going to bat for their players. Showed me what type of person he was and what kind of university and community it was. Like it made me think like I made the right decision in coming to UNC.
That's great. So you end up playing the rest of that season, and like Ryan said, I mean, you put up big numbers. You were really productive. Was that a little bit of validation to you? Like, you have the NCAA thing. You transfer. Like, this is your chance to prove yourself. And boy, did you prove yourself!
Right.
Like, what was that? What did that validation mean to you?
It meant a lot. Like, it was my reasoning in going to UNC and going Power 5, because I thought about coming out after that year at Kent, but then like I got people in my ear, people in my corner, like, you go Power 5, you can do it. You do it on that level, you can be considered a high pick, a top 3 round pick. So I'm just like, I mean, if that's what it's gonna take, then that's what I'm gonna do. So went Power 5, and, a little delayed, but get in. Miami, crush it. Virginia, crush it. Rest of the year, crush it. And it's just like I've always belonged on this level. Like I did all that work to get here and prove myself each time. It felt good to validate that.
I want to back up even before that, because your story, the wildness of your story started well before that. When you opted out, during the COVID year, and you just went back home to take care of your grandmother, I believe it was, right? And then you were working a part-time job just to kind of pay for schooling, or pay for, what was it like?
So I graduated high school in 2019.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school so I was originally signed to East Tennessee State, FCS program. Right. So like July that year, like a week before I was supposed to go out there, they called me and my high school coach, like, we're not gonna bring him up until the spring semester. They ain't like going in detail. It was just like, they knew I tore my ACL, but it's like, I don't know what it was. But then me and my high school coach went online, saw they added another receiver, and we just thinking like maybe that's my scholarship. We didn't know if he was walk-on or a scholarship player. But I just told him, like, I don't feel comfortable going up there if they added another guy to the roster. So I told him, he said, like, just do what's best for you. And I'm just like, so I reached out to the NCAA. I was able to get out of my national letter of intent. And when I was able to get out of that, I reopened my recruitment. Nobody hit me up at this time. So I'm working to pay for rehab and things like that. So that's what I was doing that whole year, the back end 2019 and 2020. So I was working to pay for rehab.
Your senior year?
Right.
So I tore it. So I went through the football season in 2018, 2019, right after basketball season. that's when I tore my ACL.
Okay. So you're working your way and you're paying. And are you at this point, like, do you think like, oh, I'm definitely going to be playing college football? Like in your mind, you were
never
confident.
left my mind. Yeah.
Okay. You were confident that you were
I was confident, but it was like, I knew I wanted to play Division I. I knew what caliber player I was. Like, the D2 schools, D3s, they like, we'll take them and things like that. Like, yeah, like that's like plan B. Like if the plan A doesn't work out, but like I said, I knew what caliber player I was. So it's like that first school to give me a scholarship, that I'm gonna take it. So Central, they were talking to my high school coach, trying to get players for the upcoming years. Then I think something like they asked about me and how I was doing, because they recruited me a little bit in high school. My coach told him like he's at home right now, he's working. And then he was like, he's not on nobody's roster. And then my coach told him nah. So they was like, oh, we'll come by and see him. And that's what they did. They came to my job. Coach Edwards, Coach Peyton McCullum, I think he works for like the Titans now. He's a receiver coach at the time. They came to my job.
Where were you working?
Bojangles.
Yeah. All right, so you get a little meal.
Yeah. I get free meal every day. So
yeah.
But they came to my job. They was like we're not going to offer you a scholarship off of your talent, like what you're doing right now, working, paying for rehab, like having to Uber home, do all this stuff and things like that.
Wow. That
like the type of character that builds. Like we want guys like that on our team, and that's why we're going to offer you. That's the exact words he told me. So that's why I decided to go. He was just like, you can come up the next year. You just be considered a freshman next year because your clock never started at East Tennessee. And that's how I got to Central.
How did that shape your character? Having to work at Bojangles to pay for your own rehab and having to do it the hard way. How do you feel like that did shape you as a person?
Right. I just feel like it showed me how to like take care of myself, like not having to depend on like anyone else. Like it humbled me a little bit. Like I wouldn't say like I was a meathead in high school, but I was one of those guys, coach giving that speech, like, some of y'all not going to be doing this forever. I was one of the guys like I already signed my stuff. I'm going to play college ball. He ain't talking to me.
Right.
So that kind of helped me a little bit and put a chip on my shoulder, because during that process, a lot of teams wouldn't take me because I tore my ACL. So it's like, I get that chance. Like everybody's going to know who I am in a few years. Right. And which I got that chance. So I feel like it showed like how resilient I was. Showed like what I wanted, I was going to work to get it. Didn't matter whatever it took, and that's pretty much what my whole journey showed. Right, like what I wanted to go to NFL, and whatever I had to do it. That's what I was going to do. So I feel like that's how that shaped me, and it shaped me, to grow up a little early. I was 17, 18 years old. Not too many people working, not working fast food at 17, 18. Well, it is, but working to try to support themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So,
at what point did you feel like the NFL was a real? I mean, I think every kid, of course, has the dreams, right? Like, but at what point did the NFL become a real possibility in your mind?
In my mind, or like it's finna be a real possibility?
The second one.
In my mind, 8 years old.
Yeah, everyone has those dreams.
Let's say when I was probably, I was 15, I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay, so still early. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was like a play. I was going into my sophomore year. It was like the summer. It was 7-on-7. It was going against another school from across town. I think I took a slant to the crib or something like that. So my coach, he told me, we had a coach that used to play in the NFL. His name was Sean Gilbert, played D-line. I think he told my high school coach, like, it's 2 people on this team that can possibly go to the NFL. It was me and it was another guy on the team. And my high school coach pulled me to the side. He was like, do you want to go to the NFL? And I told him, like, coach, that's always what I wanted to do since I was 4 years old. Then ever since then, he never, let off the gas with me. Like he pushed me to that. Whenever I was, BSing or something like that, he wasn't going for that. So he pretty much been in my corner, since I came in high school in 9th grade. So that's when I kind of had that thought, like, if a guy who used to play in the NFL thinks I can go to the league, then that could be a possibility. So that's when, that light bulb kind of clicked. Like I got to get there.
That's awesome.
So when you get this opportunity and you just shared all these things that you went through to get to this point. Like, and that's part of the reason that it's like such an emotional draft call. Like when you get the opportunity, how much of it, how kind of take me through your mindset of like, I put in all this work. Like, this is what I'm dreaming about. This is what I'm thinking about when I'm 4 years old. This is that conversation when I'm 15. This is working at Bojangles. This is the transfer stuff. This is the governor getting involved. Like, this is all this stuff. All that's combined, and like, do you feel the sense of like, now it's my chance, I have to go do it. Like, now I've got the opportunity, now I have to go do it.
It's like my mindset now is just I get the chance to be one of the guys I looked up to. Like growing up, I've always loved NFL, college football. Just like, that's who I looked up to. Anybody that played football at a high level. Like, that's how much I love the game. So just, being on TV every Sunday and, being one of those guys, like, I look up to myself. So, just being one of those guys little boys now can look up to that's my mindset now.
That's pretty cool. What are the rookie season goals for you?
I say a goal for mine, this is probably the biggest goal of mine, is to, find my role. Whatever my role is, whether special teams or being a key player on offense, or just being that, that plug-in guy, somebody you throw out there in certain situations. Doesn't matter. Just finding that role on the team, just create momentum off that. That's my main goal for this year. So just finding that role.
I almost like see, obviously Zay and Bate and Nelly, like those guys have done it. They're going to get high volume and stuff. And I almost see for you like, hey, could be a spark plug player, immediately as a rookie, as you kind of continue to develop. Right. And like what you can do taking the top end off of defense, just that's rare. It's not a ton of guys can do that. Like, do you kind of envision like, hey man, maybe as a rookie, it's going to be more limited opportunities, barring injuries. But when they call my number and want me to go deep and take the top off somebody, like I gotta be up there to step up and prove it.
Right.
Yeah. Is that how you kind of see things?
Yeah, that's how I kind of picture it. Like, say if it's a play, they want to get, Nelly or Zay something underneath, and we need you to go in there and kind of take safety out of the picture. And like I said, if that's my role, then that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I kind of see. But I feel like Lamar, he knows. I feel like Lamar at this point knows what he got in me, what he has in me. So in mind for me. So if I am down there, and he want to launch it down there, I feel like I'm that guy who will go run under it, and beat the whole defense. So that's what I kind of envision for this year. So.
I've been impressed though. Like you're not just the deep guy. Like I've seen a lot of that in OTAs and minicamp, really watching you run other routes, right? The comebacks and all that kind of stuff. I feel like you're really proving yourself in that way too.
Yeah, I feel like I could always do that stuff. But no, the offenses I was in, Kent and UNC, like all we did was run, deep routes, option routes, and taking the top off. So I really feel like I wasn't able to showcase that, but I feel like I always had that stuff. Like when I'm in the off season or just working with like my trainer or something like that, like we're doing all that underneath like stuff, trying to play smaller than my size when in those situations. Yeah. So I feel like I always really had that in my bag, and like here in this offense, I'm able to showcase that. Yeah.
When we sat down with Eric DaCosta after the draft, we were talking to him about you. He brought up Tory Smith as a guy that, similar traits. Is Tory a guy whose game that you watched at all, and even since you've been in the NFL?
So I'm watching him more now just because of the comparisons. Like I've always known Tory Smith and watched him play, but I wouldn't say like I mirrored my game after him. Because I'd say I didn't really find out how fast I was until high school, and Tory was kind of on the back end of his career, so I didn't pay attention to him. A lot of guys I paid attention to, I mentioned it, Ravens fans ain't gonna like it, like AJ Green, Andre Johnson, those like bigger frame like guys who go up and high point the ball, and those are the type of guys I kind of emulated my game after. But Tory, watching him now, like I can see the comparisons. Like he just running by everyone and high pointing the ball as well. Yeah. So I can see why everybody makes that comparison with us too. I feel like that could be my role at some point.
Yeah, I mean, look, when he got here, it kind of took him a couple of games, and then all of a sudden he exploded, his rookie season, and obviously had a great career here and helped his team win a Super Bowl. So, hey, I like the idea of that.
For sure, most definitely.
I hear AJ Green, and then I go back to this whole Bengals U and the Bengals thing.
No, that's the AJ Green thing.
I gotta wipe that out of my head. I even see like a little T Higgins, a little bit kind of bigger guy, and
but like
you're
T.
faster.
Higgins
T. Higgins is a different type of big.
And he's like 6'5".
Right. You're
faster.
faster.
Too many guys like that was like that big.
That big, right? That's a different kind of big.
AJ Green, like I've watched him since he was at Georgia.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's gotten the Ravens. There was like a stretch where it felt like every year he would hit a deep shot. The Ravens would hit a deep shot.
AJ Green. Oh yeah. Well, he was named kind of the Ravens killer around here. Is what he was known for. Did you know that?
AJ Green.
AJ Green.
Yeah.
Oh, he nightmares. I still have nightmares about AJ Green.
Yeah. If you pull up his highlights, there's a few of those against the Ravens. There was like tip balls, Hail Marys.
Right.
I remember that one.
How?
Well, I remember that.
That was crazy. So now we got our own AJ Green.
I like it.
We're gonna give them nightmares.
Nah, for sure. I got a bone to pick with Cincy. I will say that.
I like it.
I thought that's where I was going. So and they took another receiver at that spot. So
Who'd they take? I'm trying to.
Jermaine Burton.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a solid player. But Cincinnati, that game it's gonna get rough that game.
Yeah. Well, there's already a lot on the line in that game. So, and I always like, everybody finds motivation.
For sure.
All right, last question for me. I'm gonna ask this on behalf of Patriots fans. What are they getting in Drake May? Tell us something about Drake May that people don't know.
That people don't know?
Yeah. What's like something crazy, some story, something about Drake May that maybe people don't know?
I ain't got no a lot of people know he hoops.
Okay.
But like I say outside, like if I say somebody's better than me in basketball, I'd rarely say this, it'll probably be Drake.
Really?
Like Drake is arguably one of the best basketball players I've went against.
Wow.
Okay.
I went against him in high school. He's from that Charlotte area too. So, but people may not look at him like as the crazy athletic type. Like Drake is one of the most athletic people I've ever seen.
Wow.
Interesting.
So hooping. And what you'll get out of him, hopefully it's not against us, but like with the game on the line, I always want the ball in his hands. Like he probably will, wave off coaches and just do stuff on his own, and you will win the game. That's the type of player he is. He will take over and he's going to win the game for you. So that's what they'll be getting out of him. But basketball, I would never challenge him in a game one-on-one. Maybe if I was on the opposite team, I'll do it, but one-on-one, I wouldn't want to play Drake.
All right.
It's great.
Well, thank you so much.
No, for sure.
Really a pleasure to talk to you, Devontez. And hey, man, I'm looking forward to a lot of big plays and beating the Bengals and Patriots.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
You doing both of those things. So thanks a lot, man.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you, man. Thank you. If you're listening to the Lounge Podcast, we're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We want to give a shout out to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. They've got a limited time offer running that you don't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the promo code FLOCK. If you are a new user, you can get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Again, the promo code is FLOCK, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You need to be 21 years or older to play and physically present in Maryland. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. So really enjoy the conversation with Tez. I think listeners and viewers will definitely get a sense of like the battle that he's gone through to get to this point. And I think that, we always talk during draft time about the story.
Yeah.
And this is not just, I had Tez on my list of receivers.
Because of the story.
In part because of the story.
You sound like me.
I do.
This is taking a page out of my book. Yeah, he was one of the guys who I thought my list was maybe 12 deep, but And I honestly, but I went for the different story. If you remember in my mock, I took Jerry Rice's son just because I felt that story. That's right. He didn't even get drafted.
He went by. I had him late anyway.
How late?
Maybe 7th.
No, you did not. You had him in like the 4th.
No, it was late. It was real late. And he went to the Chargers, right?
I think so. I think that's right. Joe Ortiz. We all know Joe.
Joe. I was thinking Joe Ortiz, what he likes in players, and so obviously we want to take him. Anyway, a long tangent there, but I think that the point that you made about kind of like more limited opportunities, but when Tez has them, he has a chance to make a big impact. Like to me, he's that 3-point shooter who comes off the bench.
Yeah.
And like instant offense can come in here and like be a spark. If you need some instant offense to come in, somebody to potentially change the game, like I don't think that he's going to be in a situation where he's getting 12 targets a game, right? But like, could he come in and get in some games 2? But if one of them's a 40-yard bomb, well, that's a pretty good target right there. I think that like I don't think they're just gonna throw bombs his way, but I do think that like that is where he will make his biggest impact as a rookie. Right.
I mean, you have to have varied routes that a cornerback respects, right? If they just are like, this guy's only going to go deep on me, it's a lot easier to cover. But like I said, I've seen that in practices. I think cornerbacks will have to respect that. I thought it was notable that Nelly, he said that he's been learning a lot from Nelson Agholor, because that's almost kind of the role that I see him playing moving forward for the Ravens. And Nelly played a lot out of the slot. He was really the Ravens' primary slot receiver last year, which you don't really think of that in his body type, right? Nelly's not a small guy, right? And he's a similar build to Tez in a way, but some of those big slot fades and creating mismatches in the slot, you're seeing more of that. It's less of necessarily the Wes Welkers of the world and all that stuff. And I know we've talked about Malik Cunningham being an option for that. And you think, Zay, of course, he also played in the slot primarily outside, but he played a lot of snaps in the slot too. But you're now seeing players more built like Devontez Walker and Nelson Agholor thriving in that, creating mismatches with their speed and whatnot and size. And I think that as the season goes along, if Devontez proves himself worthy, he's going to get more and more of those snaps that maybe would have gone to Nelson Agholor. And I think Nelson Agholor is a great vet who has a ton of knowledge, is great working with the younger guys. So I was happy to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, Nelson Agholor, I do think behind the scenes is somebody that, is well respected in the locker room, especially in the receiver room.
Yep.
And young players like Zay Flowers and like Devontez Walker enjoy learning from him.
He's just got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he's been in the league for 10 years.
He's got a lot of knowledge, and he's really good at sharing it. Like, he's a good communicator. And I agree. The Ravens had Odell Beckham Jr. and Nelly last year, and they kind of were leaders in different ways. And I think that was part of the reason why they wanted to bring back Nelly, was they lost OBJ, and to have that veteran in the room who's so good at guiding those guys. And Devontez is the beneficiary of that. Just going back really quick to his story, I think it also speaks to the Ravens like stories like that because of the character it builds in overcoming adversity. And every player in the league, I don't care where you're drafted, faces adversity. Every single one of them. And the having a track record of overcoming that, if you've done it before, you can do it again. And that's what the Ravens see in prospects. They like that in prospects, and I'm sure that's part of the reason they've said it, that they really like Devontez Walker.
And I think with his story, something that you can see as a through line is that this is a guy that loves football. He gets football taken away from him, and he says, okay, I'm not leaving, even though he acknowledged, I thought about it, but I'm staying here. Put me on the scout team. I want to help. I want to be on practice. I want to be a service to the team in some capacity and still be part of this team. Put me on the scout team. And so, like, you see a guy that wanted this.
Yep.
And so now this is his opportunity, and I think that he has a chance to go do it. And I think it's going to be a developmental process. But I think that, like, this dude has a lot of talent. The Ravens were really excited to get him, and I'm excited to see how it all comes together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got a roster spot, obviously, so he's going to get his chances. It's I expect he's the number 4 wide receiver. 4 or 5 coming out of camp, and then there's the competition for 1 or 2 other spots.
Yeah, I think the competition he's going to be on the team. The question is just what's his role going to be, and that was his point about what are your goals for the year. My goal was to carve out a role for myself.
Exactly,
and I think that he'll have the opportunity to do that, and I'm intrigued, and I think that he'll have. He has the potential to make some big plays for this team.
Absolutely, I agree.
So, as always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Really enjoy the conversation with Tez. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching this pod. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we will talk with you again soon.